What the hell do you need this for? What are you, a goddamn plumber? No offense to plumbers, I am not a plumberist. Some of my best friends are plumbers. But you're probably a filmmaker, and if you've ever had the situation where you're working on some larger filmmaking equipment and you find that your Leatherman sucks massive donkey tits at turning bolts, because that's not what it was intended for, then this might be a tool that you absolutely love. This is a premium German-made tool. This is both a plier, so it does the same sort of job as this, but grips a hell of a lot stronger. And a wrench for turning bolts. With your average Leatherman style multi-tool, the harder you try to turn a nut, the harder you have to grip it. And this usually means that you can't turn tight nuts with a Leatherman tool. The Knipex plier wrench, the harder you try to turn this, the harder it grips the nut. It just grips stronger and stronger, and you see I'm not even having to grip that. No, it's just ripping pieces of metal off. And now we try with our trusty Knipex. We adjust it to the right size, and we hold on with our hand, and then we turn it whichever direction we want, and then we can ratchet back and forth, however we like. And then we finish the job, and we go home, and we have sex. Let's try and lift up a piece of furniture. So grip it on there, and then... And this is a wonderful tool for bending metal. And same thing goes for sheet metal. Shit. For example, my headphones are absolutely fucked and they need a repair. Now I could spend another £130 on new headphones, or I could have some good tools around and be able to fix it myself. So this is going to be pretty great to be able to bend them. But I need some non-shitty metal. I need to put a needle through a pretty thick material to make a little repair here. So with this, it's a piece of cake. It's a piece of caca. Like that. By the way, this is Kevlar cord. Really nice stuff. And when you have that goddamn annoying knot that won't come undone, then you have a little tool to mess this mother up. Just grab and pull, and you've released it. And if you carry some bits with you, then you have an instant ratcheting screwdriver with more torque than your grandmother after a coffee enema. And I love pocket tools that can connect to a waistband really well, because I carry these when I'm wearing boxers, when I'm just working at home, and when I'm wearing shorts in the summer, or when I'm wearing sweatpants in the winter. And this is now my new go-to set of pliers. I even need pliers in the kitchen. It's like, when do you not need pliers? And yes, my oven is a genuine piece of crap, but even if it wasn't, grabbing this when it's hot needs some pliers. Because an oven mitt, I'm too lazy for that. I'm sure there are another 1,000 uses for this that I haven't even thought of, but it works amazingly well as a scraper because it can grip a blade pretty damn well. And you have so much force here that you can flatten things out as well, which can be really, really useful. Now, I used to think this had a lot of power in the tip, and it really does compared to most multi-tools or pliers. Tough piece of steel, even though it's fairly thin. I can bend it, but it's taking a lot of force, and you can see it's starting to open up the pliers. It's starting to be too much force for this. And this, okay, even less. I'm going to go halfway. It's just like, bring it on. Nom 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 nom. So let's get into why these grip so damn well. Pretty simple, it's actually just the amount of movement over here compared to the amount of movement over here. The bigger the difference between them, the more pressing force you're going to have. So it's just a ratio. Ratio just means how two things compare. Knipex market these as having a 10-to-1 leverage ratio, and my number actually came out even higher than that. So I'm measuring 90 millimeters away from there, so maybe they're measuring a little bit closer. So I compared these four tools. With both of these, we have a 3.6-to-1 leverage ratio. And in number 2, the SOG Pocket Power Plier. And we're not including my handle extensions here. 7.3-to-1, 12.3 when it's at its widest, and then 1 point below minimum was 14-to-1. So if you're a strong American man and you're able to push on this with 130 pounds of force, then you'll have 1,700 pounds of force over here. 14:1 leverage ratio applies for when you're trying to grip something like this. And what I'm calling the infinity to 1 only applies to something like a bolt when you're putting that turning force in. With both of those options, it blows everything else out of the water. But it is very possible that I will still be carrying both of these because they each serve a slightly different purpose. For example, this one is a little bit quicker to get out and not need to adjust for each thing you need to grab. So for example, if I'm moving thorns out of the way when I'm walking around with my cat, and also they can be used together when you need to do this kind of thing. Basically, mechanical extensions for your arms. With the more traditional style of wrench, you would normally have a little bit of a gap between the nut and the wrench. It's mostly putting pressure on the corners of the nut, which means that it can get rounded off. I'm not sure if this thing can round off a nut. I haven't heard of anyone say that it has. And you want your nuts in good condition, guys. I'm not one to discriminate. Ladies, if you have nuts, you should keep them clean too. Another thing is, it's quite annoying to have to keep doing this and trying to fit it back on whenever you need to sort of make the turn again. And yeah, it's just quite annoying and slow. But with the Knipex, you rotate and then release the handle and it sort of ratchets around the bolt. When you try and grip hard, your hand has a tendency to want to slide forward. So you can sort of get over it by grabbing right at the end. It's really not the best. With a lot of Leatherman style tools, they can pinch your hand. So for example, if I'm trying to do something that this wasn't intended for, like turning a bolt, and I'm gripping it really, really hard and it slips off the bolt, then it can pinch your fingers. Let's say if my finger was there. As far as I can see, there's not much that will snag you here. I think this should be non-pinching. You can even do it with one hand and then close it with one hand as well. I almost always have something in this hand that I need to attack with a pair of pliers. If the one-handed opening isn't working for you, it's either because you're not pressing the button hard enough or you're trying to flick it in the wrong direction. It slides that way. Not a flicking movement because it won't work. Push this up against your stomach or against your other arm. A good way to close this with one hand would be to have these two fingers on there and then have this finger above there so that you can press it onto your fastener or whatever it is you're grabbing. Sometime soon I'm going to make a video about my little portable toolkit. I love this little case from HSU. It's actually intended for GoPros and they have a few different sizes of cases. This is the smallest one they do. Thank you for watching. If you want to support this channel, then you can get yours from the links down below, and I'll try and link to some other stuff that I mentioned here that I think is actually worth buying. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Like a robot.